The world thought they knew the glitz, the glamour, and the power of Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. But behind the diamond chains and the stadium lights, a dark, soul-crushing tragedy was rotting in the shadows. Tonight we aren't just talking about a headline. We are talking about a betrayal so deep it leaves you breathless. Imagine trusting someone with your home, your secrets, and your heart, only for it to end in a cold, sterile courtroom filled with tears and shattered dignity. Mila Adams, the woman who saw the man behind the athlete, stood before a judge today, her voice trembling with the weight of 1,000 broken promises. This isn't just an assault trial. It's the funeral of a friendship and the public execution of a woman's pride. When Mila looked into the cameras and invoked Cardi B's name, the air left the room. She didn't just drop a name. She dropped a bombshell that left Cardi, the Queen of Bronx, completely humiliated in front of the entire world. How did a bond built on secret whispers and shared dreams turn into this nightmare of violence and public shame? Why was Cardi B forced to face the most embarrassing moment of her life because of a man she once called a friend? Grab your tissues and hold your breath, because what we are about to reveal will break your heart into a million pieces. But what exactly happened that Cardi B had to face embarrassment in front of a large crowd? Let's find out. The glittering lights of the NFL and the high-octane world of hip-hop usually paint a picture of invincibility. But what happens when the gold plating begins to peel away, revealing a hollow, painful core? To understand this tragedy, we have to go back to where the silence was first broken. Stefon Diggs, a man celebrated for his speed on the field, found himself entangled in a different kind of race. A race against his own reputation. For years, Stefon lived a life most could only dream of, but in the quiet corners of his mansion, a different story was being written by a woman named Mila Adams. Mila wasn't just a face in the crowd. She was his private chef, the person responsible for his health, his fuel, and ultimately, the keeper of his most private moments. She entered his life not just as an employee but as a confidant. In the beginning, it was all smiles and culinary perfection. Mila was the bridge between Stefon's public persona and his private reality. But as we now know, the kitchen walls witnessed more than just the preparation of elite meals. They witnessed the slow, agonizing erosion of professional boundaries. At the same time, the name Cardi B always seemed to hover in the periphery of Stefon's world. Their connection was the stuff of tabloid legends. A bond that felt unbreakable, fueled by mutual respect and a shared journey from the bottom to the absolute top. Cardi, with her raw honesty and fierce loyalty, saw something in Stefon that the world didn't. He trusted him. He championed him. Little did she know that her loyalty would eventually become the very weapon used to embarrass her on a global stage. As Mila Adams stepped into the spotlight of this assault trial, the world saw a woman who looked like she had carried the weight of the world on her shoulders for far too long. Her eyes, red from nights of crying and soul-searching, told a story that no lawyer's opening statement could ever capture. She wasn't just there to talk about a contract. She was there to mourn the person she thought Stefon was. The tragedy lies in the transition. How do you go from planning menus and sharing laughs to standing on opposite sides of a courtroom, fueled by accusations of violence and betrayal? The introduction of Mila into Stefon's inner circle was supposed to be a move toward a more organized, disciplined life. Instead, it became the catalyst for a total collapse. As Mila began to find her footing in this high society world, she even crossed paths with Cardi B. There was a time when these two women from vastly different worlds shared a space of mutual ambition. They were part of a team that felt like family. But family is often where the deepest scars are formed. As the trial began, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. The courtroom felt less like a place of law and more like a stage for a tragic opera. Stefon sat there, his jaw clenched, the shadow of his former glory hanging over him like a shroud. And then there was the ghost of Cardi B, not physically present yet, but her influence was felt in every whisper in the gallery. The world was watching not just for the verdict but to see how the mighty had fallen. Mila's entry into this saga wasn't just about a job. It was about a woman seeking a place to belong, only to find herself trapped in a cycle of power play and emotional turmoil. The backdrop of this case is painted with the colors of broken trust and the dark reality of what happens when the cameras stop rolling. This is the beginning of the end, a slow-motion car crash where everyone involved is left bleeding, and the most painful part is that the world is cheering for the wreckage. We are looking at the ruins of an empire, where the only thing left standing is the cold, hard truth of a betrayal that no amount of money can ever fix. The stage is set, the players are in their positions, and the heartbreak is just beginning. As we peel back the layers of this introduction, we see a man losing his grip, a woman losing her soul, and a superstar about to lose her peace of mind. This is the story of how the elite fell from grace, and how a private chef became the voice of a tragedy that will be remembered for years to come. As the courtroom doors swung shut, the air grew heavy with a truth so toxic it threatened to choke everyone in the room. This wasn't just about a boss and an employee anymore. The mask was finally ripped off, revealing a jagged, bleeding reality. Mila Adams stood at the witness stand, her hands trembling as she prepared to reveal the secret she had carried like a lead weight in her soul. She looked at Stefon Diggs, not as the superstar athlete the world cheers for, but as the man who had allegedly shattered her spirit. The revelation hit the gallery like a physical blow. Their relationship was never just about professional boundaries or gourmet meals. Mila claimed, through tears that blurred her vision, that she and Stefon had shared a deep, intimate, and sexual connection. The silence that followed was deafening. This was the dark reveal. The moment the narrative shifted from a simple workplace dispute to a tragic tale of blurred lines and broken hearts. Mila described a world where the kitchen lights dimmed and the professional respect evaporated, replaced by a complex web of passion and power that she was never prepared to handle. Imagine the psychological toll of living two lives. By day, she was the disciplined chef, meticulously calculating macros and managing a high-profile household. By night, she claimed she was something else entirely, a secret kept in the shadows, a woman whose worth was tied to the whims of a man who held all the cards. She spoke of the hidden nature of their bond, a secret that felt like a beautiful dream in the beginning but quickly sold into a haunting nightmare. She wasn't just a chef, she was a woman who believed she was loved, only to find out she was perhaps just another accessory in a life of excess. The tension in the courtroom reached a breaking point as Mila began to describe the shift, the moment the affection turned into aggression. When you give someone your heart and your body, the betrayal doesn't just hurt, it destroys you. She detailed the nights of fear, the moments where the man she cared for allegedly transformed into someone unrecognizable. The assault trial wasn't just about physical contact. It was about the assault on her dignity, the way her trust was weaponized against her. Every word she spoke felt like a piece of her soul was being laid bare for the world to judge, to mock, and to scrutinize. The tragedy of Mila's story is the isolation. Who do you turn to when your world revolves around a man as powerful as Stefon Diggs? She described the feeling of being trapped in a golden cage, where the bars were made of NDAs and the fear of social ruin. She wasn't just fighting for justice. She was fighting to prove she existed, that her feelings mattered, and that her pain was real. The sensational nature of these claims sent shockwaves through the media. But for Mila, this wasn't a headline. It was the wreckage of her life. Stefon sat just feet away, a stone-faced monument to silence, while the woman who used to know his every preference, his every mood, and his every secret, dismantled his public image piece by piece. The hidden relationship was now on full display, stripped of its privacy and dragged through the mud of public opinion. This is the dark side of fame, where the most intimate moments become evidence, and where love is cross-examined by lawyers who have no room for emotion. Mila's testimony was a raw, visceral cry for help. She spoke of the emotional manipulation, the way she was made to feel small and replaceable even as she occupied the most private spaces of his life. The dark reveal isn't just about the sex or the scandal. It's about the devastating realization that you were never what you thought you were to someone. It's the realization that while you were building a life, they were just playing a game. As she finished this part of her testimony, the courtroom felt drained, exhausted by the sheer weight of the sorrow she had unleashed. The world was now forced to look at Stefon Diggs through a different lens, and the image was terrifying. But the biggest shock was yet to come. Because while Mila was exposing the man she once loved, she was also about to drop a name that would turn this local tragedy into a global firestorm. The shadow of Cardi B was about to move from the background to the center stage, and the embarrassment that followed would leave the entire industry in a state of absolute disbelief. The darkness had only just begun to spread. The atmosphere in the courtroom had already reached a fever pitch, but nothing could have prepared the world for the moment the name Cardi B was dragged into the middle of this wreckage. This was the climax everyone feared. the moment where a private tragedy became a global spectacle. As Mila Adams continued her testimony, her voice cracking with the weight of her words, she didn't just talk about Stefon Diggs. She began to weave a web that trapped Cardi B in a situation so cringeworthy and so deeply personal that the internet practically went into a meltdown. The embarrassment wasn't a single event. It was a slow, agonizing revelation of how deeply Cardi B had been integrated into a world of lies. Mila revealed that during the height of her secret relationship with Stefon, she and Cardi B weren't just acquaintances. They were planning a life together. The courtroom fell into a stunned, suffocating silence as Mila described how she and Cardi B had spent hours discussing fashion, life, and even planning matching outfits for future events. Imagine it. Cardi B, a woman who prides herself on being real, a woman who has fought her way to the top of the food chain, was unknowingly sharing her energy and her friendship with the very woman who was secretly involved with the man she trusted. The humiliation was visceral. For Cardi B, a superstar whose brand is built on loyalty and keeping it 100, finding out in a court of law, alongside the rest of the world, that she was being played for a fool was a soul-crushing blow. Mila's testimony painted a picture of Cardi B being the last to know, a puppet in a game of deception orchestrated by Stefon. The matching outfits detail was the ultimate sting. It turned a symbol of sisterhood and friendship into a joke. It made Cardi look like she was part of a team that never actually existed, a team where the other members were keeping secrets that would eventually explode in her face. Every headline that flashed across the screen felt like a fresh slap to Cardi's legacy. The public started to see her not as the invincible queen of rap, but as a victim of a messy, low-level drama. The embarrassment wasn't just about the betrayal. It was about the exposure. It was about the fact that her private conversations, her fashion choices, and her personal associations were being picked apart by lawyers and mocked by trolls. Cardi B has faced beefs, she has faced lawsuits, and she has faced critics, but being made to look stupid in the middle of an assault trial involving her inner circle was a different kind of pain. Mila didn't stop there. She described how she felt guilty, looking at Cardi, knowing what was happening behind closed doors with Stefon. This narrative of pity was perhaps the most embarrassing part for a woman as powerful as Cardi. To be pitted by the woman who is currently suing your friend for assault is a level of disrespect that is hard to recover from. The courtroom drama shifted from a search for justice to a public execution of Cardi's tough girl image. She was being portrayed as the naive friend, the one who was too busy with the Met Gala and her career to see the rot right in front of her. The tragedy of the climax is that Cardi B didn't even have a voice in that room. She was being embarrassed by proxy, her name used as a tool to show how manipulative and deceptive Stefon Diggs could be. The world watched as the chef detailed how she felt she had to hide her face from Cardi, making every interaction they had feel like a staged performance. It turned Cardi's genuine moments of connection into a farce. As this part of the trial concluded, the damage was done. The image of Cardi B planning matching outfits, with a woman who was simultaneously in a secret, volatile relationship with her close friend, became the viral moment of the year. It was a tragedy of errors, a collision of worlds that left the Bronx superstar standing in the ruins of her own reputation, forced to deal with the fallout of a drama she didn't start but was now the face of. The embarrassment was complete, the betrayal was total, and the queen was left holding the pieces of a friendship that had turned into her worst public nightmare. The dust has finally settled in that Massachusetts courtroom, but for those involved, the scars are only just beginning to form. Stefon Diggs walked out a free man, found not guilty by a jury after just 1 hour of deliberation, but in the court of public opinion, the verdict is far from unanimous. Mila Adams stands by her story of a relationship that crossed every line, while Stefon's legal team calls it a calculated attempt to extract money from a superstar. But in the middle of this battlefield, we are left with the image of a shattered trust and a friendship, once so public and powerful, that has been reduced to a cautionary tale. Cardi B, the woman who stood by her man with fierce loyalty, now has to navigate a world where her private associations and matching outfits were used as punchlines. This isn't just a sports story. It's a tragedy about what happens when fame, money, and secrets collide in the darkest ways possible. It's about the people who get caught in the crossfire when two powerful forces go to war. Diggs may have his freedom, but the whispers about what truly happened behind those closed doors will follow him for the rest of his career. Now we want to hear from you because your voice is the only one that hasn't been heard in that courtroom. Whose side are you really on? Do you believe Mila Adams was a woman seeking justice for a betrayal that went too far? Or do you think this was a cold, hard play for a $5 million payday? And what about Cardi B? Does she deserve our sympathy for being dragged into this mess? Or should she have seen the red flags sooner? Don't just watch and walk away. This story is far from over and the fallout is going to be massive. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and get the raw, unfiltered truth behind the headlines, you need to be part of this community. Smash that like button if this story broke your heart, and hit subscribe right now to make sure you never miss the next shocking update in this saga. We're digging deep into the stories that the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Comment below with Team Cardi, Team Mila, or Team Stefon. Let the world know where you stand. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay informed, and remember, not everything that glitters is gold.